I can make it.
Hello, my name is Winter. Welcome to my analysis and review of Scorn. This video will contain spoilers for Scorn and is intended to be the culmination and capstone of my personal journey through the world that the game offers. I will be summarizing the adventure that we embarked on for the last 6 hours and attempting to string together the story and themes that are presented in this very abstract piece of interactive art. This game, and therefore this video, is not for everyone. Several of the themes and messages that I will be talking about are intense and disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's like melding into the ground. Look at that eyelid, the eyeball moving underneath the eyelid.
Welcome to the Dragon Den. My name is Winter. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. These are my afterthoughts of Scorn.
Oh, that's not good. Oh my. What are... Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Hi. What the hell? No! You get away, you parasite. This almost looks, kind of like a cave in a forest.
Scorn. The feeling or belief that something or someone is worthless and despicable. This name was chosen for a reason, and with everything that happens after pressing New Game, that reason becomes extremely prominent. Within this H.R. Geiger inspired world, Ebb Software explores themes that plagued Geiger for his entire life. Notable for many infamous pieces of art, particularly the Xenomorph from the Alien franchise and the Birth Machine, Geiger had a view of life that was full of pain. The primal instinct is to survive, and it was this instinct that drives people to take advantage of each other to secure one's own survival and prosperity. Scorn uses Geiger views as a canvas to showcase the meaning of life, or more accurately, the meaningless of life, and the human desire to make everything have a purpose. To analyze this, we need to start with the setting that Scorn takes place in. Then we can delve into the story itself, what it presents. And finally, we can use that story to explain the presented themes of religion, nuclear and chemical warfare, and overpopulation. Scorn is an alien and unforgiving wasteland. From the fleshy heights of the birthing wall, to the dark and infestive depths of the crater, and the grandiose, morbid stone of the city of Polis. The player feels instantly on edge with the brilliant use of the classic Geiger architecture fusing flesh and machine together. The desolation and isolation make known the great tragedy that has unfolded. All that is left amid the red, lifeless sand of the field are giant, unknown, and foreboding buildings that are slowly disintegrating into the atmosphere. This puts scale to the world, showing how insignificant you are in the overall universe. And as slowly you discover and solve the various machinery and contraptions that populate what you soon to discover to be not so abandoned buildings, the mystery of the world starts to piece together, little by little. The landscape puts fear and uncertainty into the mind. Following up fear is the craving for understanding, and the curiosity of what a newborn feels like. Except the player is a newborn, being thrown into the world without the comforting hand of a parent to hold and guide them. Being extremely abstract, the plot and themes of Scorn must be interpreted from environmental storytelling. The gameplay features very Myst-like puzzles that are integrated into the environment itself. However, unlike Myst, there is no dialogue, no cutscenes, and no books or notes to read, so the exposition has to come from the environmental storytelling. You start the story by waking up interlaced with a flashback of your character crawling along the desert, which we later come to know as the field, in an attempt to reach a large building. This is cut short when the ground gives way and the flashback character falls into a facility below the ground. Once consciousness is regained, you are given the opportunity to start wandering around and exploring. The duality of this intro already gives the impression of two different characters, and you would be right in that assumption. As the player, you do control two different characters in Scorn. However, both the initial wake-up scene and the flashback character are the same entity. The second character's perspective you don't get control over until after the first chapter. As you explore the first area that the digital art book calls the Assembly, you come across a melee weapon of sorts that is also used as a device to use certain consoles throughout the game. Then with this melee weapon, you start some sort of machine that explodes and covers the ground with an unknown substance, also once again knocking the player character out. When you come to, the perspective shifts to the second character that I mentioned before, and the one that you will control for the remainder of the game. This character will travel out of the birthing wall, through the field, and back into the Assembly, where they run into the Parasite, which is the deformed sentient remains of the first character that you played as during this game, and is notable because of the melee weapon that they picked up being attached at the end of the tail. This Parasite uses the player as a host, playing on the theme of using others for personal gain, eventually, at the end, causing the death of the player character. With this Parasite unwillingly in tow, you escape the Assembly and go lower into the crater. Here, you run into the Crater Queen, a giant, seemingly passive entity that you as the player end up killing to further your own gain and progress your objective. That objective being the portal in the city of Polis. We will talk more on this later. After the crater, you take the train to the city. Statues and art depicting phallic imagery and idolizing intercourse dominate the city, giving an extremely uneasy feeling despite the infested flesh of the crater being left behind. In Polis, you rid yourself of the Parasite and progress towards opening this large ornate door that stands out among the rest of the scenery. Through what appears to be a religious ritual, you open this door and arrive at the portal that you did not even know existed until this point in the game. Just before you can enter, the Parasite returns and kills the player. Final glimpses show the beginnings of what appears to be a new Crater Queen, or possibly King, depending on gender, starting to form from your corpse and the remains of the Parasite. While abstract, the story of Scorn brings many modern topics of concern to the attention of the player. Though not brought to the forefront until the end of the game, religion is a significant part of the message being delivered to the player. To begin, let's look at my thesis, that Scorn is showcasing the meaningless of life and the human desire to give everything a purpose. When you, the main character, are born from the birthing wall, there is no direction, no goal, and no visible path. You simply exist among what seem to be the many deceased of your race. Then, curiosity takes over, and you start to explore. Sure that you need to be doing something, that you have a purpose, going through pain, through trials, and through tribulation on the faith that there is something you need to do.
Now, what did that do?
Then, getting to Polis, you discover the portal, and despite never knowing of the portal until that moment, mere minutes before the end of this game, you believe that that was what your goal has been this whole time. This is the basis of religion, that we need to have a purpose. What is religion more than just a collection of beliefs? Without those beliefs, what do we as people have to guide us? What do we have to work towards? What is the point of the main character going through all the pain and suffering he did, or she did, if it was not his destined purpose to ascend through that portal, whatever the meaning of ascension means in this situation, because that's not the point. What is even on the other side of the portal? Why is it necessary to go through it? There are no answers, because there's no need to have an answer for that. The main character and you, the player, through them, choose to believe that this was the goal and purpose. If the portal was not the goal, why did you go through all of this? Why did you go through all the pain and suffering? But then, right before you make it to the portal, you get killed by the parasite that you have already gotten rid of.
No! You get away, you parasite.
If there was a point, if you were destined to go through this portal, how was the parasite able to kill you? This parasite killing you confirms that there is no destiny or grand design or final goal. For if there was, surely you would have been protected from that, in some way, shape, or form. What I take from this is not the dark and depressing thought that there is no meaning to life, but that life is what you make of it. You choose your own goals, you choose what is important, and you choose what you wish to believe in, and that you should not let those beliefs be chosen for you.
The main character, the one that we played as for most of the game, did not survive. There is, well, I should say this, did not survive in his current state.
Religion itself may be a conceived idea, but it is powerful enough that others will try and take it from you. The society of Polis crumbled when civil war broke out between the people of Polis and their creations called the homunculi. While not much is known about the society that lived in Polis, and near nothing is given to the player during their time in the City of Scorn, the digital art book helps fill in some of the gaps and expand on the lore a little bit, showing that much was cut from the original scope of this game. One of these things is the homunculi, living batteries created by the people of Polis, and we actually do encounter these in the game. When the main character places what appears to be these large babies, large fetuses, whatever you want to describe them as, inside of this mech suit, and then ends up going through this whole boss fight just to kill them and use them for fuel for the ritual ceremony to get through the portal later on. Those are homunculi. They were originally supposed to be a much larger part of the game. The people of Polis use these homunculi as a potent psychedelic to raise their consciousness to a higher state that can be seen during the ritual when your brain is taken and connected to what appears to be a connected consciousness. The homunculi were sentient, as can be seen during the game, during the boss fight, and they eventually rebelled against the people of Polis. They created mech suits and various different weaponry, and they fought a brutish battle against the people of Polis, and current day is what the aftermath looks like. The insinuation of nuclear and chemical and potentially even biological warfare. The barren wastelands of the field, the disintegrating buildings, the hallways that are only inhabited by what appears to be the side effects of biological warfare, and perhaps even the descendants of the people of Polis, which is really disturbing to think about. That being the flesh creatures and the Crater Queen and the parasite. The Crater Queen herself gives life to the Crater creatures, a biological marvel and horror potentially brought about by this war. This is supported by the fact that we can see the parasite turning into what appears to be another Crater Queen or King at the end of the game after it kills the main character. Something in the environment of Scorn could be evolving the parasite, that something being the residue of unnatural weapons of war created by the homunculi and the people of Polis. Even after the decimation of the world during the homunculi revolt, The birth wall still gives life to the player race. Is the player's race the same race that inhabited Polis? That's unknown. But I have a good feeling that it is, in fact, the same race, based off of the fact that the player can complete the ritual inside of Polis. However, being born into the decimated world has potentially unwanted mutations and side effects caused by the residual toxins and chemicals used during the war, causing the Polis race to essentially be extinct. Scorn is sending a message to be careful with our use of nuclear power and other unnatural weapons and tools, as they could have an unintended consequence to a rapidly growing populace. As the population on our own planet grows comes an even bigger concern, that of overpopulation. The majority of Scorn shows birth as a brutal and gross and even painful event. From the main character's own birth from the wall, using the moldmen in the assembly, and to even the crater creatures being born from the flesh of the crater queen. It is all painful and makes the stomach turn upon viewing. Upon entering Polis, suddenly, birth and intercourse become idolized. Phallic shapes populate the architecture, statues of male and females in intimate positions, pregnant women, murals that show orgies, and most prominent of all, the ritual itself. I'm not going to get into details of the ritual, y'all have seen the playthrough, we'll leave it at that. The act of intercourse and birth takes on a religious significance, giving the impression that the race of Polis does not actually reproduce by this method anymore. This is further supported by the birthing wall. Could the wall have been an engineered alternative way of reproducing to keep the race of Polis alive, and therefore evolving the race to not need intercourse anymore, and in turn giving it a religious significance and pregnancy a holy idealism?
What?
This is all highly theoretical, but I believe that the race of Polis was experiencing a population boom by intercourse becoming too commonplace. To solve the issue of a population crisis, the birthing wall was created, and the race turned sterile. This would help the people of Polis with the rapidly depleting resource problem by helping control the rate at which newborns are arriving on this world. And this also would help keep at this point, what would be intrinsic act of intercourse a part of their religion.
How did I not notice this the first time I came through this area? Oh, wow. I feel like... Wow, okay.
This is clearly alluding to the rapidly growing population of our own planet, and how commonplace intercourse is becoming in our own society, and without thought how we are slowly turning our own race sterile with the many uses of protection. This falls in line with H.R. Geiger's view that the pleasure and pain of reproduction needs to go hand in hand. It is Mother Nature's way of balancing the world so that overpopulation does not happen. And what the people of Polis, and in reflection our own race, is doing is we are idolizing the pleasure of intercourse without the pain associated with childbirth. And I'm not talking about pain as just like the pain of actually giving birth. I'm talking about the pain of birth causing many complications, both with the child and with the parents, possibly killing the mother and balancing out life and death. It's morbid, but this is what I believe is being shown here, that we are fighting Mother Nature in this way. Thank you for listening to my take on what Scorn offers. This story brings forward many hot topics and themes that I feel are extremely relevant in modern society. Those of religion, belief in the meaning of life, and how the use of nuclear and chemical power could bring unforeseen and potentially catastrophic consequences, and how a rapidly growing populace is causing a strain on the environment and resources. As the years go on, I feel these themes will become even more prevalent, and we might look back on Scorn as a whistleblower to the issues that we as humans need to solve now.
What the hell? No. No. Okay. It was nice playing this game with y'all guys, but I think I'm about to call. No. Wow.
Thank you so much for tuning into this series. I am so excited to have this as the first series ever uploaded on my channel, and I hope to God that this is only the beginning of what I will be providing for y'all. I have been wanting to start a Let's Play channel for a long time, and I never knew exactly what I wanted out of it. I didn't know if I wanted to just be, just go through it and post a Let's Play, or if I wanted to do more, whatever. And then as I've gotten older, I've realized what games mean to me, and it's a way to escape. It's a way to look into a different reality. It's a way to experience things you will never be able to experience in your own life. It's a way to reflect on your own situation in life and think about things from a different perspective. Maybe bring things to your attention that you weren't even thinking of to begin with. Maybe make a parallel between what's going on in your life and what's going on in that life, and reflect on things that way. More to the point, I live for the story. The story is everything in games, and I want to experience that with you and bring that with you, and let us go together into this world and explore and see what we see and feel what we feel, and just experience it all together, and then reflect on it and see what this game brought to our own lives. See what this game taught us, what this game what this experience can provide for us, and what we can take away and then apply to our own lives. And at the same time, while we're doing that, I want to help you escape from your potentially stressful environment and come into the Dragon Den and just relax and experience the world, experience the story. Try to solve these mysteries, try to solve these that is what gaming is to me, and I want to provide that for you. And you. And you. And you. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I hope I will see you for the next game. I hope I will see you for the next experience. Good hunting. Fly safe.